Welcome back to our Total Sense Bite-Size episodes. I'm Tom Henske, and I'm here to help parents teach their kids about money. Today, I'll be preparing you for your next money dinner time conversation with your kids. In this short episode, I'll give you a few questions to help prompt the conversation. Nothing more, just some helpful questions to ask, and I'll also give you some of the responses you're likely to hear. This should be enough to help pique their curiosity about money. You are simply stopping the trend of money being a taboo topic in the household. You're not trying to claim that you're money smart yourself. You're not trying to make them a financial guru. You're just getting the conversation going to open their minds. Let's jump right in. Today's lesson is showing them how to budget. As we saw in the lesson about helping your kids understand the value of a dollar, introducing your kids to a household budget, however uncomfortable that might be, is a crucial step in helping them understand where money is and what it does. It's not a salary that helps you accumulate wealth, it's actually budgeting. But even though budgeting is a key to financial success, we as parents avoid the conversation. So for today, I want you to have a few things handy. Grab a piece of paper and a pen so you can write some notes. Also, think about bringing your family budget, whether you keep that on an Excel spreadsheet or Quicken. If you don't have that, no problem. Bring a credit card statement or even a copy of your checkbook. Now you're going to sit down and start the conversation like this. Tonight, we're going to talk about budgeting. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It's a tough conversation for most parents to have to some extent because all adults struggle one way or the other, meaning we either feel we spend too much or not enough. But we're not always sure that we're getting it right. Budgeting is getting control over your money, or the lack of money will always control you. It's simple, so let's talk about it. Step one, let's go big picture like we always do. Just ask the question, what is budgeting? And now you need to just sit back and let them talk and listen to what they're saying. As long as they're giving you some semblance of budgeting being deciding where our priorities are and then structuring our financial situation accordingly, then they're on the right track. Doing this right lets one spend without guilt, assuming they've included savings in that budget. Step two, make it relevant to them. Simple question again. Just ask, who creates a budget? They're going to get this answer pretty quickly. They'll either say an individual or a family. They may leave out business, so make sure that you put that in there, that businesses budget too. Step three, give them a how-to. This is where you grab that pen and paper. You want to teach them how to create a financial budget. So you'll start by asking, how do you think a family creates a budget? Give them a second to answer, and then what I want you to do is to go broad by asking this question. We want you to think big picture. What are the broad categories that we should consider when we're making a budget? What I like to do is feed them the first one just to get them on track. I would say, let me start it off. I'll go first. How about housing? Then what you're looking for is to get some semblance of this list. Transportation, food, utilities, insurance, medical and healthcare, entertainment and vacations, and finally, last but not least, saving. Once you've gotten them the broad categories and you've written it down just so you can remember, you'll go into the second question, which is this. Now let's think about specific things in each of those categories that we spend money on. Let's go category by category. First, housing. And then what you do is you go down the list you just created and you let them talk about the specific things the family spends money on. Now, my next favorite question is this. I call it the disaster scenario war games. Here's what you're going to ask. If our family ran into a bad money situation, what would be the first thing that we cut? Let them answer it, and then you're going to say, then what? Let them answer that, and you're going to go one step further, and what next? What you're trying to do is two things. First, you're developing this concept of needs versus wants, otherwise known as fixed versus discretionary spending. It also reinforces the concept of an emergency reserve fund. You know what that is, saving money for a rainy day. Now, in step 4, let's put it in real-world context. The question you'll ask, How do you think these different entities approach their budgeting? And you're going to feed them 3 examples. The first will be a business. I would use Starbucks. Second would be, how about your school? And third, how about you personally? You want to help them understand that not only do families, businesses, and schools budget, but individuals have to budget as well, including your child. The last part of this is, ready for this? I hope you're sitting down. You're going to share with them your family budget. I know that's hard for families to do, but there's really no downside to it. Shouldn't they start to get an appreciation of how money is organized in your own house? The core message that you're trying to get through in this exercise is a budget is just a representation of our values. Now let's wrap up the conversation by telling them this. At the end of the day, those who can budget have a much easier time saving money, just because they have a plan. Just like if you were going to build a house, you wouldn't just start banging boards together, you would at least start with a plan. And our planning is budgeting. We don't want you to think that budgeting is restricting. We want you to think of it as empowering. It helps you control your life instead of the other way around. I hope you enjoyed our episode of Total Sense. A special thank you goes out to Verso Studios at the Westport Library. Tune in for our next Money Chat.